Welcome boys and girls, Costin here with a discussion about one of the most underappreciated campaigns in Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires, and that is Alarielle the Radiant, the Everqueen of the High Elves. The Everqueen who actually, in more ways than one, makes up for a lot of the deficiencies that High Elves do end up having in their campaigns, specifically with regards to heroes as well as having heavy-hitting infantry. Because if we look at Alarielle's campaign situation, she has a unique landmark over here in the Gaian Vale, which gives her all of the Forest Spirit units. So she doesn't just have Elves, which are strong enough as units, reliable, durable enough, but she also has these kind of heavy hitters of Dryads and Treekin. Now, I'm not necessarily the kind of person who views Dryads as being worthful that much, but certainly Treekin are amazing, durable, capable of dealing damage, magical attacks, so they're good against demon, and only vulnerable to fire. And if you're dealing with units that have fire, that's where Sisters of Avalorn and Archers with Light Armor come in. So the combination of units that you have between Forest Spirit units as well as regular Elven units is phenomenal. Furthermore, the fact that she has extra hero capacity for handmaidens, as well as the skill line over here with Tradition dictates, that gives her the ability of recruiting handmaidens all around, is ridiculously good. I understand why Alarielle is not popular. The start is very off-putting for a lot of people, but think of handmaidens. Handmaidens give you growth, replenishment, discreet influence per turn, diplomatic relations with all factions, and control in all provinces. So having a bunch of handmaidens is actually one of the clearest wins. Now, the downside you're going to have to deal with, really, is the Defender of Ulthuan mechanic. You start with minus diplomatic relations, control, plus construction cost income from all buildings. And that's what can throw a lot of people off, because when you start with those limitations, especially as High Elven structures, as well as research in the realm, can take a while to get through, it can certainly feel very off-putting on how you approach this campaign. Your natural path, the one you might want to go for, would be Nagaryth. But you don't need to go for Nagaryth as quickly as possible. In fact, going for Nagaryth is potentially the single worst decision you could go for early on in a campaign. So instead, what I'm going to show you is exactly what you should aim for in this specific campaign. So we're just going to take the Phoenix Gate. We're going to loot and occupy it. We're going to move our princess over here. You could fight that battle if you want fewer casualties. Personally, I didn't need to right there. And now we get the Invocation of Assyrian, which will help with some of that extra construction cost that we have and we will be dealing with. But again, it's not really a big problem, and we have enough ways of doing so. In fact, if you're playing an Alarielle campaign, one of the things you can do is use Administrator Archmages with the load save character system. Though if you're not the kind of person who wants to use that benefit, you also have the capability of getting a lot more influence per turn through the power of nature. So every settlement that Alarielle visits will have that kind of benefit bestowed on them, which will end up helping you immensely. So what do we do after this point? Because obviously going for Nagaryth completely would be a bad idea, but we don't need to go for Nagaryth in itself. We might go on a pit stop to give Illyrian some territory that we would then take over, but we're not really interested in taking control of Nagaryth right here. Instead, what we're really interested is moving right here and going through the Terranok gate, because that gate, it might be locked initially, but it will be unlocked. It might be locked for factions that are at war with Terranok, but it's not locked for you since you're not at war with them. So you can actually wait some time, get some settlements sorted out, build some stuff. Not really a problem. The Phoenix Gate here will hold as long as you allow it to hold. And Tyrion will deal with the Dark Elven faction that he is at war with. So what we're doing here, we're going for Tor Amrock. And the reason we're doing so is because of several reasons. Or we could go for Tor Dremnil, which would give us a declaration of war from Illyrian with regards to the Scourge of Cain. You do need to defeat the Scourge of Cain, but you also don't want to waste your precious time doing so. So instead of just, you know, running around like a chicken, really, and you got better things to do with your time than running around like a chicken, you can just give your forces to Alarielle and march on toward Drimnil in order to secure that path. Our income is stable, it's increasing, it's getting improved. Tyrion eventually, or he's already dealing with the fellows right here. He will always do so. So it's dealing with Nakari is more of a long-term project, and be mindful of that, because Nakari is going to potentially be the biggest problem. But that's where the gate over there is so very important that you sort out. Safri will usually not declare war against you. So we're going to capture the settlement. Illyrian is going to help us out, and we're then going to swap places with Illyrian as we end up in a fight with Nautilus. So we have happy populace, campaign movement range, unhappy populace. Let's go for a bit of extra control right there for the cost of some influence, because influence, dime a dozen really. The more settlements you visit as Alarielle, the better off you will be, and your auto-resolve by default becomes so ridiculously good that you will end up in a dominant position regardless of what you do. So it's a question of like building slowly, building carefully, and then having the payoff over there of that kind of build process really in your campaign, and getting that extra bit of growth, getting that repair. So now that we're past the gate, we can even declare war on Terranok, though I'll wait one more turn right there. Our diplomatic relations with Illyrian are improving. We do not need to care about the Griffin Gate. No faction can bypass the Griffin Gate without us being involved. Now, bear in mind, we do not necessarily want to give this territory to Illyrian, so we might want to do some territory swapping with regards to that. Or we could go directly for Morathi and eliminate that specific threat. So the choices that you have here can feel a bit much. We got that specific item over there because we got the Phoenix Gate. And now we're just going to pull back right there and start marching on Terranok over there. We could take the Phoenix Gate, as I said. That isn't a problem. And if anyone declares war against us, they're going to pay the price. So let me show you how it would look in a couple of turns. After this stage, I'm going to do Invocation of Asuryan. Why not? Tyrion has the inner gate of Ulthuan is under control. Let's engage in... Well, we can lose our patronage position. For a bit of influence, we could take on conditions, taken to heart. Yeah, let's go with that. And we'll instead take the Illyrian position, because that one is just more useful for us. It's always this kind of balancing act when you're playing an Alarielle campaign, by the way. And always knowing what to do, how to do it, how to sort it out. Because right now, the penalty right there, the construction cost penalty has been, in effect, removed. And now we have a significant larger number of settlements that we do have the ability of dealing with. Elfarian is useless unless you make him useful, but sometimes you just gotta give him the time needed to sort his things out, really. Alright, so in this case, I declared war on Nautilus because he has taken over that specific settlement before me. And now we can actually use Tyrion to go to war with Noctilus and make him useful. It's always about managing Tyrion's situation and being careful about some of the things that you're dealing with in a campaign. Dealing with Noctilus is a non-issue if you know exactly what buttons to press and how to press them. Sure, there will be a battle over here that we will have to deal with, but look at this army. Doesn't stand a chance, and there's wall breaches, plenty of wall breaches, since he just took over the settlement. And also the specific layout is very easy for us to attack. So, at turn 26, here we are with Alarielle, and having followed through on that path, giving Dranil to Illyrian, eventually confederating Illyrian, fighting Noctilus but not defeating him because Nakari declared war on Illyrian, so I had to go there and destroy Nakari. Being flexible. Basically my campaign path essentially went Phoenix Gate, Unicorn Gate, Dranil, over here, and then back again to deal with Nakari, and then turning around. It is that kind of campaign where you're in the middle of the ocean and you need to ensure all of Ulthuan is under your control. But at this point, I am finally able to move to the final stage. I did not go to war with Safari. I did not get a military alliance with Tyrion for a very long time because I did not wish to be dragged in his war. That's his war, his business, his situation. But now, at long last, the final step is taken. And we have gotten the Confederation situation with Tyrion and achieve a high level of success. In fact, ridiculously so of a high level of success. This is really Alarielle's primary power in her campaign. It's not the other things that Alarielle can do. It's rather building that kind of campaign structure, that kind of campaign capability, where you are able to even do these things in the first place. And this is not even the be-all and end-all. I'm not even sure where Tyrion is, to be quite honest with you. I guess we'll discover where he might be, if he is even available. There we go. Not sure what he's doing there, but hey, you know, Tyrion things. We'll just respec him. And get rid of this army, because we do not need it. So here we are. In a campaign, turn 26, most of Ulthuan under direct control. We do obviously have some things that are clearly missing, some things that should be done, etc., etc. But as things currently stand, if you play your cards correctly, if you build up that level of influence, if you get those seats, if you keep those seats, if you keep going down this path, you will eventually achieve success. And really, next up, we have Elfarion to do so. You know what the irony is in a Alarielle campaign? She is genuinely the easiest one to actually confederate. But playing her while it starts out slow, it gives you a kind of level of capability that you just do not have in any other campaign of the High Elves. Not in the same way. And then there's always Beastmen armies ready to tear you up, tear you a new one, if you dare presume that you know what is going to be happening towards you right there. But that's fine. We can live without a couple of spearmen. And what's even more hilarious, really, is I now have this Sword of Cain that I will be able to get soon enough during the course of this campaign. Investing in this particular province is never really worth it as much, but investing in some other things definitely is. Or having beaten Morathi, and yes, I did not even bother to level this one up, but having beaten Morathi I'm now in a position where Astankia is actually my next target, if you can believe that, in a campaign. The money will flow, and it will flow gloriously in this campaign. It will definitely take its time, and we will have to put Noctilus in his damn place, rebellions and whatnot. But that's the brilliance of Alarielle. Every single handmaidens gives you that extra bit of control in a campaign. So you end up nullifying any kind of penalties that you might incur from the Sword of Cain. That is really what her main power is. This army was just following around, doing things, helping around. Because the handmaidens, there's a lot of them. There's a truckload of them, and they will never easily give up. Sure, you do have a choice once you get into this position. You could go and burn Nagaron to the ground if we take a look at that campaign map. Deal even with Astankia if you want to. In this campaign situation, you could go try and meet the Empire and various other factions in order to improve your economic situation. That decision is up to you, what you do. But this is the power of Alarielle's campaign in a nutshell, and it is something. The sheer number of settlements that are generating power of nature, which is control, influence, and growth, that one may have during the course of a campaign can feel ridiculous quite a bit. You're looking at a constant flow of influence, constant flow of growth, constant flow of control, and once you do pick up the Sword of Cain, and you can do all of this faster, by the way. You can throw Ulthuan into the ground, not care about Defender of Ulthuan, and just go for the Sword of Cain as quickly as you possibly can. But building in a better way in Alarielle's campaign will net you these rewards. You can try and play it fast. You can use the load save character system to take advantage of the Administrator Archmages and have a much faster campaign pace, or you can play the game normally. It's your call on that subject. Costin here signing out. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you boys on the next one.